Hello and welcome to Kent Tonight, live here on KMTV. I'm Finn McDermott and here are your top stories on Friday the 23rd of January. Protesters and police clash. Ugly scenes in Sandwich as activists' anger mounts.
We bear no arms, we are peaceful people, we just want the genocide to stop.
Closure chaos revealed. Crucial Sissinghurst cut-through shut 22 times in just 2 years.
It's been shut many times over the year, sometimes just for a day, sometimes for 3 or 4 days. Sometimes it's shut when there's no notice.
And not here to play. Kent businesses show off at the UK's largest toy convention.
For us, for the UK, I think we are quite a small brand at this stage. It means a huge amount to have a space at such a large event.
Police officers and pro-Palestine protesters have clashed in ugly scenes this afternoon at a rally in Kent. Activists are voicing their anger at the Instro Precision factory in Sandwich Discovery Park, which they say is aiding Israeli attacks on Gaza. And Kristen Hawthorne joins me now in the studio to tell us more about this breaking news story. So, Kristen, what do we know about the situation?
Yes, so one of our reporters from Kent Online was at the scene and told us there was a group of around 50 protesters there along with police. We can see a picture here. This is one of the pictures from the scene. We understand members of Thanet for Palestine were also there. In a video taken by the reporter, we can see them shouting as a police van tries to drive past the crowd. One person also appears to be thrown on the ground by an officer in this video that you can see now. The activists were holding signs saying "Hands off Gaza" and "Sanction Israel now." The reporter also spoke to one of the protesters, and here's what she had to say about the rally.
We were a peaceful protest. We were very peaceful until the police, you witnessed. I don't think there was any need for that kind of faction against us because, we bear no arms. We are peaceful people. We just want the genocide to stop. I myself, I'm really against the arms. I don't want to see any child, any mother, any father, any nephew or niece die violently.
And can you tell us a bit more about Instro Precision Factory and exactly how it's connected to Israel?
Yes, so Instro is controlled by Elbit Systems UK, which is part of the broader Elbit Systems Group, one of the largest arms manufacturers in Israel. Thanet for Palestine posted about the rally on its Facebook page, urging people to voice their opinions to Instro having a factory here in Kent. The site has been subject to several protests in recent years. In October, 9 people appeared at the Old Bailey in London, where they were accused of causing more than £1 million worth of damage to the weapons factory. The activists, who are allegedly supporters of the now-banned protest group Palestine Action, they are said to have filmed themselves as they broke into Instro Precision in the early hours of June 17th, 2024.
I see. And do we have a response yet from those who are involved?
Well, a spokesperson from the police confirmed that officers attended the protest, where it was reported that fireworks were thrown shortly before 2:30 p.m. They added that a man was arrested and taken into custody, and officers remained at the scene until those protesters at the scene had left the area.
I see. Thank you so much for bringing us this breaking news story, Kristen. And as always, you can read more about this over on Kent Online. Next, a taxi in Gravesend lost control and smashed through several front gardens and walls earlier today. The incident that took place on Beaumont Drive is said to have happened around 10 a.m. this morning. The Toyota taxi cab remained lodged between one of the damaged properties and a tree. 70-year-old Roger McVeigh, who lives opposite the scene, told our reporter he didn't even know how the driver had managed to do it. A police spokesperson confirmed they've been assisting while the car is being recovered. Next, a drug dealer who drove to Ramsgate with a hidden stash of cocaine has been sent to prison. You can see the video here now.
Proper interested.
Where 29-year-old Kristen Solage was caught with the drugs. Have a listen to this.
The radio, and then the bottom left of the...
See, none of it should be this loose, should it?
No. There you go.
There you go.
The bags are there. Got some stuff?
There we go.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned there, 29-year-old Christian Salage was caught with the drugs while driving a silver Mazda on November the 1st last year. Authorities discovered he was in possession of a large amount of cash as well as a store of cocaine, found hidden, as you saw in the video there, behind a panel on the dashboard. Salage was quickly taken into custody and charged the following day, later pleading guilty to intent to sell cocaine. He's now set to spend 2 years and 3 months behind bars. You saw there the body cam footage of the moment that the police discovered the drugs. Next, the Orchard Theatre in Dartford is set to reopen after more than £11.5 million has been approved to finish its refurbishment. The theatre's been closed down since September 2023 after an inspection uncovered reinforced autoclaved aerated concrete, also known as RAC, in its roof. The Orchard Theatre has undergone significant improvements since its initial closure, including the removal of concrete and improvements to accessibility. Dartford Council plan to reopen the theatre by the end of the year, and a planned performance of Cinderella will take place around Christmas time. Now, a Sissinghurst lane has been closed 22 times in just the last 2 years, as continued waterworks have left locals frustrated. South East Water say the renewals to the mains will be sorted along Chapel Lane by the end of March. But those in the village fear this will just be one drop in the ocean when compared to Kent's creaking rural infrastructure. Our local democracy reporter Ollie Leader went to the closure to see it for himself.
Sissinghurst is the quintessential Kentish village, complete with the far from quintessential regular road closures, shutting a crucial cut-through to Bennington and Tenterden. In fact, over the last 2 years, Chapel Lane has been closed 22 times, half of which were for emergencies relating to leaks and bursts needing to be repaired by South East Water, who are currently replacing more than a kilometre of pipeline along the road.
It's probably going to take you a good 15 minutes out of your way, I'd say, which for your daily commute is going to be quite annoying because the roadwork's going to be here for a while. But ultimately, if it's all fixed, well and good, but if it pops up somewhere else and breaks somewhere else, that's the real worry, because that's when you get more roadworks.
But people here are divided. They say that this vital cut-through route is continually closed off for repair work, often at short notice.
Well, it's something, as I say, that has to be done, but for it to be closed for 1, 2, 3, 5 months seems to be a long time, really, and it's very annoying.
But it's been shut many times over the year, sometimes just for a day, sometimes for 3 or 4 days. Sometimes it's shut when there's no notice that it's going to be shut. You come along and it just happens to be closed.
Kent County Council says that because Chapel Lane is quite narrow, most works require a full closure to ensure safety. In total, that means the road has been closed for 139 days in the last 2 years, with South East Water acknowledging how inconvenient these bursts have been for the community. But there is confidence in the village that once this final closure is complete by the end of March, future bursts and leaks along the lane might become a thing of the past. Ollie Leader in Sissinghurst.
Now, with news of US President Donald Trump threatening harsh tariffs to force the UK to support his claim of ownership over Greenland, Kent businesses were concerned. But a deal has reportedly been made. Despite this, European leaders deny that any agreement was struck. So, to settle the debate, our presenter Rob Bailey talked about it on the Kent Politics Show with David Powell, a former member of the UK's delegation to NATO and a former ambassador to Norway, as well as Robbie Lamas, the deputy leader of Reform in Medway, to discuss the topic more.
In all kinds of ways, politically, economically, militarily, it's become an incredibly important part of the world. And obviously what happened this week, what was so extraordinary, was Donald Trump becoming quite aggressive with traditionally his allies in NATO, threatening economic sanctions if they don't agree with his take on what's best for that land.
What is the real thing behind this? Is it that America wants to have bases in Greenland? Well, it can do that already. Is it that it wants to mine? Well, people have mined in Greenland, and actually it's not economically sensible at the moment. You'd have to melt an awful lot of ice before that happened. And they'd be thinking, well, what are the implications for trade? What are the implications for all sorts of other things? So there would have been a huge mobilisation across Whitehall. It would have involved Treasury, it would have involved business, it would have involved defence, it would have involved the intelligence services because we rely so much on the Americans for intelligence. It would have involved a huge amount of diplomacy.
Nigel Farage this week said Greenland would be, the world would be safer if Greenland was in the hands of the Americans. Do you think your party leader's on the right side of history on this one?
Absolutely, and in fact the historic perspective is the right way to think about this issue. I mean, not many people know that actually the headquarters for the UN agency that looks at maritime trade still remains in London, and it reflects our history as the power that ruled the waves. And people often forget how important it is for international trade to have a military presence in the ocean and a security presence to protect trade interests. Your gentleman is correct, is that the ice is melting and it does change the context dramatically. And what Trump is doing is drawing everyone's attention to the fact that, unlike what was expected 25 years ago, that increasing trade with China would lead to a greater alliance and a sort of continuation of this so-called peace deficit. Now what we're seeing is that they're taking the money they're making for international trade and preparing for war. And we have to get on the front foot for that prospect.
After the break, we'll turn our attention to Maidstone and take a look at the derelict St Francis Catholic Primary School, which is finally being sold after 25 years of abandonment. All that and some more news after this short break. Hello and welcome back to Kent Tonight, live here on KMTV. Now, a plasterer from Bexley Heath has been told he only has 6 months left to live after a shock discovery of incurable cancer. Christopher Cook, who's 47, thought he'd pulled a muscle in his back at work and had years left, but was told last week the heartbreaking news that he had late-stage pancreatic cancer and doesn't have long to live. Christopher and his partner Maria May got married on Tuesday at Darren Valley Hospital in Dartford, surrounded by friends and family. I'm joined now by Chloe Brewster, who's here to talk us through this story. So, Chloe, I mean, this must be not only just difficult, but just shocking for Christopher and his family. How could this have been missed?
Well, Christopher thought, as many of us did, that he had many, many years left to live. And, you know, the reason why this came up was he had a pain in his back and he thought he'd actually pulled a muscle. When he got to the hospital, he got to A&E, he was rushed into an acute medical unit at Darren Valley Hospital where he was informed about a mass on his pancreas. So he had no symptoms really other than that pain in his back. It's all been very quick. A fundraiser has been up to support Chris to enjoy the final few months of his life and planning his funeral when, you know, this time last week that wasn't even something that he was considering. So yeah, it's just so shocking.
Absolutely. For anyone out there who's watching, what are some of the main symptoms to look out for? Yeah,
well, it's not commonly known, but pancreatic cancer, although it ranks 10th most common cancer type in the UK, it is the 5th highest for cancer deaths. But common symptoms include indigestion, tummy or back pain, jaundice, but you can also look at all that under the Pancreatic Cancer Action website.
I see. Thank you so much for your time, Chloe. And now here's all your sports news from across the county, including news of Chatham women's promotion hopes, Canterbury Rugby Club taking on Dorking, and a Whitstable Bowls player who's been named as part of the England women's side. Let's take a look.
This Sunday, the Chatham Towns women's team play a crucial match against London Bees, which can make or break their charge for a playoff place. A defeat in their last match against MK Dons, now making it 4 games lost out of 11, and with London Bees being 7 points ahead of the Chats, this is a crucial game for their promotion hopes. However, with 2 games in hand on London Bees and their victory in the Women's FA Cup, earning them a place in the last 16 against Birmingham City, the Kent side will be more motivated than ever towards this crucial clash. We now travel to the rugby pitches of Canterbury, where Canterbury Rugby Club look to extend their 7-game winning streak against Dorking this Saturday, the 24th of January. After a hard-fought start of the season, the Canterbury rugby side find themselves at a completely different end of the table, sitting in 4th place and only 5 points behind Bury St Edmunds. But their opponents, Dorking, are only sitting behind them by 3 points, and a win for them will mean they leapfrog Canterbury to the 4th position. We head down to the coast, where the England bowl squad named Whitstable's own Sian Honor to compete in her 5th consecutive Commonwealth Games. This is a huge achievement for the 38-year-old, as there were only 3 places up for grab in the women's side, and with England being the most successful nation in the history of the bowls and the Power Bowls, Honor and the rest of the England squad are looking to bring more gold back home. And finally, a record field of more than 1,700 entrants for Canterbury's 10-mile road race this Sunday. It is underway from 9 a.m. The participants will begin at the University of Kent campus, beginning at the Sports Centre. The racers will then be passing through the villages of Tyler Hill, Radfall and Blean before finishing again at the Sports Centre. Spectators are encouraged to come and watch the racers compete.
Well, hopefully for everyone running that race, the weather will be kind to them. So let's have a look at how it's going to look over the weekend. Tonight we'll see cloudy skies across the county, mild temperatures of 7 and 8 degrees. On the east coast, Margate and Dover will feel a slightly stronger breeze compared to the west, overall moderate winds. Tomorrow morning a little bit chillier, 6 degrees mostly, and then slightly warmer into tomorrow afternoon. Lots of sun all around, some high wind speeds there. Then here's your outlook. 7 degrees and cloudy on Sunday. That cloud remaining through some very slight drizzle on Tuesday, getting slightly warmer to 7 degrees there. Now, don't forget you can keep up to date with all your latest stories across Kent by logging on to our website, kmtv.co.uk. There you'll find all our reports, including this one about a councillor from Sevenoaks who's using a pioneering robotic voice to battle against MND.
I don't have a real voice anymore, so this phone is my voice.
It may be a robotic voice, but this AI replica sounds just like Sevenoaks councillor Nick Varley when he was first diagnosed with motor neuron disease back in 2024.
When you get this kind of diagnosis, part of you thinks my life is over. And being able to still work, still talk, and still participate is amazing.
Pioneered by the Motor Neuron Disease Association and London-based AI firm 11 Labs, the app uses a sample Nick provided before the degenerative condition progressed to his mouth and throat, allowing him to speak clearly at meetings and continue to represent his constituents.
This is the public debut of my new AI voice, so I hope that the technology works. It can be very emotional, because your voice is such a big part of you, and no one wants to sound like Stephen Hawking did. So it's incredible.
Motor neuron disease causes muscles to weaken, stiffen and waste, affecting how sufferers walk, talk and even breathe. About 5,000 adults in the UK are living with the life-shortening condition at any one time, and there is currently no cure. But for Nick, who has raised thousands for charity since his diagnosis, there was only one way to react.
Total shock and fear. And then you have to get on with it.
Ollie Leader in Sevenoaks.
And finally, lots of children across Kent will still be playing with toys from this Christmas, but what will be under the county's trees during the next festive period? From bikes to bears, London's Toy Fair showcased the very best toys on the market this week, with some of Kent's top businesses also displaying their top products too. But which toy will be on every child's wish list this year? Well, our reporter Megan Shaw, at the envy of probably everyone else in the newsroom, went down to the Toy Fair, checked out all the different toys that were on offer and had some fun. Well, I'm sure she had some fun as well. Let's have a look at what Megan got up to.
Christmas might have come and gone, but toy manufacturers across the country are already counting down the days until wish lists are made. London's Toy Fair is the biggest one across the UK, and although it draws huge global retailers such as Playmobil and Ravensburger, Kent's businesses can also be found in the toy box.
Yes, we are born in the US, but all of our team are based in Tunbridge in Kent, so we offer all remote control cars, all the way from really small little cars, so 1/64th size, all the way up to 1/5. For us, for the UK, I think we are quite a small brand at this stage. It means a huge amount to have a space at such a large event.
We make small strategy board games, and they are travel based, so this is why we've got the train theme, that you can sort of take them anywhere you like, and they're user friendly, so they're easy to learn for people all ages, whether it's your children or your grandparents. We're based in Sittingbourne in Kent, and you can find our games at Dyson Destiny in Canterbury.
Now, the big question is, which toy will be on every child's wish list for 2026? Will it be something like this bike here, quite modern? Apologies for your wait there. Or maybe something a little bit more old school. Is that cash or card for you today?
I think everyone always thinks about how technology is changing children's lives, but as you've said, when you walk around Toy Fair, you see lots of traditional play patterns, so play sets like imaginative toys, kind of wacky, silly, gross toys. And last year, that part of the industry did really well. So, you know, tech toys only make up a really small % of the market. And actually, what we love doing is what children have loved to do for generations. We like playing with games, we like role-playing.
And for Folkestone-based Big Jig Toys, making sure their products are unplugged is all part of the fun.
There are no screens here. Throughout our whole range of 4,000 products, there are only 3 products that have got a battery, and there is nothing that has got a screen. Big Jigs focuses on pure play, absolute immersion by a child into a wooden product within the Big Jigs brand, and none of that involves screen time.
And while children might start to worry about being naughty or nice, toy manufacturers continue to push for playtime over device. Megan Short for KMTV in London.
A great story there from Megan. Who knew that so many toy companies were based down here in Kent? Well, you've been watching Kent Tonight live here on KMTV. As always, there's more news made just for Kent throughout the evening. And don't forget, you can always keep up to date with the